Saturday live on Dublin's easy place to relax.
Sunshine 106.8. Sunshine 106.8.
Debbie, delighted to have you here again. And I just thought that for this week, before we talk about where we're going on our journey for 2021, for you to give us a little bit of a background as to who you are. So we all get to know you a little bit better and where it is that you come from. You are an angelic healer and teacher, but tell us about how you got to this point in your life. I mean, was this something that was always with you, even when you were a little girl?
Thanks, Carol. As a youngster, I would have been quite aware of energy. I wasn't aware at the time that you would call it clairvoyant, but I would have been aware of experiencing different colours and seeing different things as a child. And I didn't know what that was. In fact, it wasn't anything unusual for me until I realised that other people weren't experiencing that. So I closed it down. I suppose I brought my awareness away from it. And it didn't really return until I began the work that I'm doing now. Before I was a spiritual healer and teacher, I worked for 17 years in the Guards. And during that time, as a result of many different things that were happening in my life, I found that I was struggling with stress and really trying to find another way to deal with that. And that's where I discovered meditation. And initially I was only doing the meditation, or what I thought was breathing exercises, just to alleviate the symptoms of stress, because I had a lot of symptoms that were physically present in my body from stress. And I wanted to try a way of alleviating myself naturally. So I started the meditation, and after a very short period of time, I think it was only a matter of weeks, I had an awareness of being a sense of peace that I'd never experienced in my life before, that came in and around the time I would do my meditation, that would stay with me afterwards. And I had an inner knowing that this was something that I really wanted to experience more of. I didn't do it every day at this point, but I started to build up my practice. I became aware of angels. That's the word that came into my mind. Now, bearing in mind, I was not from a background where I wasn't a spiritual person. I wasn't a religious person. I would have been very lost actually in my 20s in that regard. So for me, this was completely new and a different concept, and one I had really to try and get my head around. So I didn't go shouting this from the rooftops originally, especially in the job that I was in. The meditation and what came with that did so much in relation to healing my life. And with that came a reawakening of my gifts once again. And then I began to train. This is back 2008. I met a really powerful, lovely healer called Brian McCullen in Enfield. And I trained with the angelic energy healing with him and with the crystal healing and the Reiki. I came up along that way each day doing a lot of meditation myself. And eventually, here I am now. So that's how that came to be.
Can I ask you, Debbie, because I'm fascinated about this, and it's interesting where you mentioned that you didn't tell anybody, because I think now people are much more open to it, whereas once upon a time, in the not too distant past, there was a lot of raised eyebrows. When you were a little girl and you were saying that you were seeing colours, was this something that your family knew about? I mean, was it something in your family? Because often you hear with people who perhaps are clairvoyant or do have a special gift, it comes down through the generations. Was that the case in your family?
It is in my family, although I know that it doesn't have to be for people to awaken their gifts. It can be just something that happens naturally or innately. There will be members of my family that will be quite connected as well. When I was very, very young, I think I would have spoken about it all right. And I would have been quite aware of different things. I remember having an awareness when something would happen. It coming into my mind and it happening, and being quite intrigued by this. And as a teenager, it came back again a little bit, but I was more frightened of it at that point. There wasn't, in our culture, we're not encouraged really to seek out or to connect with our intuitive abilities. It's not something that's openly discussed or encouraged too much, whereby in other cultures, in other times, if you were brought up and this was very normal and you could be quite open about it, I think a lot more people would develop their spiritual gifts or their intuition in that regard.
Yeah. And would you think that everybody, to one extent or another, has a gift?
Everybody. I mean, what I've learned over many years of teaching this is that everybody has a gift. Every single person on this planet has something that makes them, that is the key for them, that is unique for them. That is something that if they were to work on it or to develop it would bring great peace. And the one thing I know about working with energy and developing yourself would be that normally if you have something, and it doesn't always have to be something that people would consider a spiritual gift. It could be something that you have a great draw for, something that you have a great pull towards. It could be that maybe you're amazing at working with your hands, or, building things, or thinking of things in a different way, or you have a way of explaining yourself, or looking at things it allows you to see a higher perspective and allows you to share that with others. And that would be the key, something that you do or you can develop. And oftentimes, particularly with the way things are at the moment, and people are so stressed and worried and fearful with everything that's happening around us, we kind of focus on what's around us and not what's within us. So a lot of the time we're just about getting by, and we're watching out for things, and we're afraid of not having enough of whatever it would be. And we don't really pay as much attention as we could do to within ourselves. And I know I always go on about it, and I really do, about the meditation and the connecting with yourself in whatever way you want to do it. But if you want to know yourself and really develop yourself, it's so incredibly important that you give yourself a chance to really go into yourself and really work through whatever it may be that be causing you to be fearful or worried or stressed, or maybe causing you to maybe close down and not see things as you'd like them to be, or not follow the path that calls you. And that's what I love about meditation, and with meditation or with energy work or whatever it is that you do that brings peace to you, there always is an availability and a choice to develop not only your inner core, but the gifts that you hold inside you. And whether anyone is aware of it or not, every single person on this planet has something. And the key to developing that something is to allowing yourself time to sit with yourself, to know yourself, and to work through whatever may have shaped or formed or conditioned you to be in a way that is not authentic to who you were born to be.
Can I ask you, Debbie, about your connection with the angels? Because I know a lot of people would be hugely interested in this. And although I do take on board, what you're saying about everybody having a gift, not everybody would have a connection with angels in the same way that you do.
I suppose I'm very lucky in that regard. It wasn't ever something, as I said, I chose to connect with. It was more something that I was aware of when I was doing my own meditation. I don't ever want to sound egotistical in relation to it, because regardless, even if you're not aware of it, that beautiful and divine intelligence is around you constantly. And that might sound strange if there are many people listening and if that the opposite is what they feel. But in fact, it is always there. It's always available. And it's just a matter of learning how to see, sense, and know. And the thing to remember is you don't have to be spiritual. You don't have to believe in angels. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to have any belief in anything for that divine intelligence to be present. And basically what it is, it's, in my mind, angels are divine beings who radiate a specific frequency or energy, always connected to a higher frequency, like love, peace, joy, healing, higher awareness, and they are always available. Whether or not this might sound completely off the wall, it might be something that you have never envisaged, thought of, or considered, or maybe it's completely something that you're quite resistant to thinking about. There's always an opportunity to connect with them. And often people will only ever reach out or consider them when things are really hard, when there's been a loss or a great trauma or challenge. Often people will call out. And the thing to remember is that from my own experience of working with angels, what's important is that we give permission for them to support us. The thing to remember about working with angels is, even if you don't specifically call an archangel's name or specifically ask a particular guardian angel to work with you, the mere fact that at that very moment you may be struggling, suffering, and at some level seeking help from a higher frequency. At some point in your inner core, there may be a call out or an insinuation that help would be appreciated here. That's really all the angels need to come in and support you. The more you call in your guardian angels or whoever you believe in, the stronger your connection is. For those that never have done this before or would not be open to it, just knowing and trusting that if you are open to help and support aligning with you through the universal energies, through your divine energies, through whatever form it would be, it will always come. What I would promote and what I always would suggest is being open to being helped and supported. And that's what I teach in my classes, how to be open to allowing yourself to be supported. Because when you connect with the divine energies, the angelic energies, and they are aligned to what I call your higher self, source, God, the angelic frequencies, whatever you want to call it yourself. There are many names in this culture covering what you would call that. But when you invoke the frequencies of the archangels or your guardian angels, you're invoking peace, you're invoking protection, you're invoking support. What you're merely doing is coming back into alignment with what has always been inside you, that inner peace.
See, I can't imagine how anybody would not want that for themselves. And can there be anything better than that? And to that end, Debbie, then over the next months throughout 2021, I know you're going to be joining us every month to kind of help us on that path. And you also have a very strong connection with crystals. So give us just a little synopsis of the type of work that you'll be doing with us over the coming months.
Well, every month I'll be introducing you to a different archangel, which basically an archangel radiates a specific frequency, like the frequency of love, support, healing, protection, and how you can invoke or work with that energy very, very simply. It may only be a matter of one sentence that you may introduce into your day if that feels right for you. I'll also be speaking about crystals, a big passion of mine, and they for me really are an amazing support for my meditation, that from my own experience, and different people have different ways of being, but for me that really would be something that would support me. There are different frequencies to each crystal and they all have different healing properties. So I will be mentioning a few of the crystals, maybe 1 or 2 crystals a month. Those that are interested or feel drawn to can work with or can experiment with. I'll also be covering a different chakra point a month. A chakra is an energetic point in the body where energy flows in and out of, and it can have a healing when we focus at the energy there through our breathing techniques, just simply through doing meditation, or when just even to have an awareness of what that governs. It's not only the physical body, but also the emotional, mental, and spiritual body. And having an awareness of that can simply help to alleviate anything that may be happening. And just to bear in mind, any of the energy healing work I do, be that through working with angels, crystals, Reiki, whatever it would be, I will always encourage, in fact, more than encourage, if you need to see a doctor over something, or if you're on some type of medication, to ensure you continue where you're at. This is not a substitute to heal ailments or issues in the body. This is something that can help, support, and promote calm and peace in the body. So just to bear in mind, it's not a substitute for anything that you are doing at this time that is helping an ailment or an issue in your body, but it does and can have a very calming, healing, and loving effect on the body by doing energy work or simply meditation.
Well, it sounds absolutely wonderful to me, Debbie, and I'm very much looking forward to having you back next month. So can I just ask you, between now and then, for anybody listening, is there one thing that you could suggest that we could all do, say, for the next 4 weeks until we chat with you again, that actually might make life a little bit easier to deal with? Because let's face it, for a lot of people at the moment, life is not easy.
No, that's very, very true. It's quite challenging. What I would suggest, and what I'd love if listeners were interested in doing this, it would be an amazing thing to do, and even to do it for the next 4 weeks, and just to observe any changes or how you have responded to it. It's very simple. It would simply be to sit down and cross your legs and arms and allow yourself 5 minutes at least every day, if not 10 minutes, of sitting in quiet, be that meditation or be that deep breathing or whatever you want to call it yourself, closing your eyes, taking big, beautiful, slow breaths, observing the thoughts that may come and go in your body, in your mind, wherever they connect to, without reacting to them as much as possible. And for those that would be open to working with angels or would like to try and call them in, I always suggest Archangel Michael, the Archangel of Protection and Empowerment, or you can call in your guardian angels and inviting them in at the very beginning of your 5 minutes. and giving yourself that 5 minutes then just to let your body adjust, just to let your body release any tension, fear, stress, or heaviness that it's holding. Give yourself that time. For those that are more comfortable in the 5 minutes, you can maybe put that on to 10 minutes. And just doing that once a day, it doesn't have to be at a particular time, but once a day, and doing it for a number of weeks, and just taking note of any changes in your body or in your mind, or how you react to this exercise. I'd be most interested to see how people get on with that.
Okay, well, that sounds like a pretty good start. And then in February, we will have you back, and then we will start our journey in earnest. Debbie Boyle, thank you so much for joining us. Absolutely fascinating. I could talk with you actually all day about this. I have so many questions for you. We will talk over the months, and we will be coming back to lots of different subjects over the coming months. So look forward to chatting next month. And in the meantime, if anybody wants to find out more information about you and about what it is that you do, it's all on your website, angelicconnections.ie.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to the coming months and to working with you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.